I'd like to start here with the Chilean lantern tree. And the reason why, well, it's self-explanatory. It's just extraordinary this year. It's been a very, very good year for a lot of plants. Not all plants. What the dry weather did, and it's very unusual to get such a long spell of dry weather in early summer, is the hawthorn. Normally when we get rain, which we started to get 2 days ago after a prolonged dry spell, the rain knocks the spent flowers, petals off the hawthorn, but it hadn't rained, so the hawthorn just got better and better and better. And when the hawthorn fades, it goes from white into a pinky hue, and it was just amazing in the countryside to see all this pinky hued hawthorn. You know, people are saying, a few people said to me, what's that thing in the head? I've never seen that before. So it's just hawthorn, and hawthorn plus unusually dry early summer. I was planted last year when we moved out of the house out of it, and I wasn't sure how well it would work, but the customers love it. It's a white fuchsia and 2 lupins. I think that's Manhattan Light. Now the way I deal with lupins is, well, first of all, you put them in the sun. When the flower spike fades, I don't allow the very last flower to fade. When it's nearly red, when it's nearly finished, I cut to here. I cut the whole piece off, and that encourages subsidiary ones. The other plant I want to mention, oh look, a tree lupin. It's called a tree lupin even though it's not a tree lupin, it's shrubby lupin. Lupus arboreus it's called. But I just found a cutting. I found a little tiny piece grown somewhere, and that was grew like that in a year. It's a super shrub for, once again, a sunny spot. And any piece will root at this time of the year very easily. But we made a little change here. I put in Verbena bonariensis, and they were only in a week, and they were put in these very small plugs, and they've done that in a week. And the late great Christopher Lloyd, he was a brilliant gardener. He has this amazing book, which I read when I was about 16, 17, it's called A Well-Tempered Garden. And he said about Verbena bonariensis, it's nice if you have a few, it's better if you have more, it's even better if you have more. It's one of these plants, because the flowers are blue flowers, tiny blue flowers, dotted in space, the more you have, the better it looks. So I'm imitating the late great Christopher Lloyd, that's planting that amount there. And if those roses weren't there, I would plant the whole amount. Now I generally don't approve of watering a garden other than when the plants are started, to let them get settled in. But I would make an exception for this. I would water that if the pine tree is too greedy and sucks too much water out. I would water that. I've made that decision. But could you imagine if that Verbena went all the way around there? But it ain't gonna happen. And we planted a few Gauras, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Gauras, and that plant at the same time, and they've grown about a third. And very sunny, dry here. A cornflower. I planted 2 cornflowers. I dug out from somewhere else where they weren't getting enough light, and that's absolutely beautiful colour. I don't know what it is. And that one, look, it's coming on strong, and they will flower through the season. The thing about them is they get a bit rangy, and you have to be ruthless. You have to cut. Don't let them get rangy. And this is an evening primrose, and that's beautiful. I don't know, I think it might be Oenothera biennis, but I'm not 100% sure. I was getting my van MOT'd last year, and I went for a walk, and in a gateway into a farmer's field, and the gravel, that load of that was growing wild. So just dug a piece out and brought it back. And the problem with that is when that flowers, everybody is going to look for it. And I'll send them to get their van serviced beside the farmer's field. And we have the sea holly, the blue. It's going to be blue, it's going to be blue, that's going to be pink. But that'll be very different. That's the blue sea holly, big blue. And they need, even though it says sea holly, they need bone dry conditions, very good drainage, full sun. Because if you think of seaside, plants by the seaside's often very dry. And any stuff from the stuff that comes in from the sea is no good, it has salt in it. So it's often really a dry environment. There's a lot of sand, so well drained. So often plants that don't and tolerate very little water, grow by the sea. And what else have we got? That Geranium phaeum, a double one. A double Geranium phaeum. Absolutely fantastic. Put in a whim. I got them in. I didn't know anything about them. Put them in. Oh yes, we're going to have a look at this. That's Geranium cantabrigiense, and it's going to finish flowering shortly. But what's good about it is it's evergreen and it's very good ground cover, and it will tolerate a good bit of shade. Now it's been there a very long time, and it was gathering a lot of moss inside it, and it was getting a bit bitty. So what did I do? I put a bit of fertilizer on it. I don't normally use fertilizer, but so in 20 years in this garden, I've used maybe 5 handfuls of fertilizer. And let's go. Oh, there's the Geranium sylvaticum going over, native to Europe. It's the white form, Alba. Very sylvatica. Sylva means wood, so they will tolerate a lot of shade. Now, when that's in about 2 weeks time, I'll give that a good shearing back, and you'll get fresh foliage and some flowers. But I wanted to mention some plants here. This is Geranium Dragonheart, and I planted it the year before last, and it wasn't very good. It only flowered for it's meant to be repeat, and I dug it up, and then someone said to me, no, you need to leave it in the garden for a year or two, and I figured out it was the way it was being propagated. The first year it doesn't produce enough big buds for flowers, so you need it for the second year, and this is the second year, and that's the size of the flowers. Now it's still on probation because it has to reflower. If it doesn't reflower, it's out, but I have a feeling it's going to reflower. We're going to remove that rose and that rose and that rose there. They're flower carpet roses, but they're not doing too well, and I've kind of given up spraying roses because it's not good for the environment, and I'm also lazy. I think so it's sort of, what would you call environmentalists who's lazy, whatever. So I don't like the trouble of mixing the sprays and all that, so I more or less stopped. But funny enough, they're okay here, so we'll remove those few. We've got a beautiful Geranium phaeum behind. This is the closer to the ordinary one. Very good for a shady situation, and the bees love it. What else have we got? Oh yes, we've a problem. Go in here. And they're Astrantias. There's Astrantias. They're all self-sown. We didn't plant them. They came themselves. Astrantias. I found Astrantias. The problem with them here is if you get a very dry situation, they don't like it for dry too long. So you have to either put them in a wet spot or else water them. And the second thing about Astrantias, you have to be rootless with them. When the first flush of flowers fade, you have to be rootless and just cut right back, foliage and all. Foliage goes a bit blotchy, and then it comes back lovely and fresh, and more flowers again, flowering right into August. I moved this here. I moved this member. This, what's it called? I've forgotten. The big Tetrapanax, Acantopanax. No, I can't remember. But that produce a very large leaf. I move that. That's going to fill in all here, I hope. And this is called Angelica Vicar's Mead. I know nothing about it. I like the look of it. So it's on trial. We'll see what happens. Now, what we have to do here is we have to ground cover around here. Ground cover. So I'm going to do a little bit of ground covering. Two choices. this that we've moved from over there, that's the Geranium cantabrigiense. And this time of year, you can see they have long sort of woody roots. This is what you do. There we are. That's it. And the only thing that matters is one. Put another bit here. About an hour's work, you'd have all that done. And we bark it. The only thing that matters is water. It will need water for the first few months, and then it will be on its own, and that will carpet all that really well. So, okay, that's our video, nearly done. So let's finish off. Okay. Astrantia roma. Cornus kousa tomi. So that's one of the best kousas, and they will grow north facing as well. Now a few more things. A bit hidden. That's Jim totally tangerine, a little bit hidden. Look at the Astrantias in there. Look how good they are. Iris orientalis, which will grow annually, it's so easy, but we have to deadhead it immediately it flowers because it seeds everywhere. It is a terrible nuisance, but beautiful. And these, look at how big the orchids are getting. They're really taking over the place. And let me finish off. Ah yes, I know what we're going to finish off. Well, two things. This is going to be a feature plant. It's the big Gaura. I know it's going to be big because it's starting to get big. I was a bit worried initially that it was going to take. Look, it's not that happy yet, but next year it'll be a different plant. And to finish off, London Pride here. You cannot beat London Pride as a filler in for your garden. You cannot beat it. Oh, here's a problem. Euphorbia, it's beautiful, and we haven't had wind for ages. So if you have wind early on, the plant adapts to it. There's no wind for ages, and then you get wind suddenly. Look what happens. So what you have to do with that is just be ruthless. Don't try to. That's it. And just another tip, if it's Euphorbia, bring it with you, because you wouldn't want kids coming and getting sap in their eyes. Oh, finish off. Grand finale. Oh, look at that cornflower. Steph gave me a piece of that from his garden last year. I didn't know how it was going to work out. Look at the lovely bushy cornflower. I don't even know what it is. It's a Centaurea of some sort. So we'll be able to lift that and move it around the garden. Now, here's our grand finale. Paeonia Bartzella. Now, I know a fella who loved Paeonia Bartzella. It is beautiful. But now we're not finishing off with this, we're finishing off in something. We're finishing off in a song, actually. For your alpine garden and Edelweiss, Edelweiss, bless my homeland forever.